Guys, I'm out for my first morel hunt of the season. I got some friends from overseas who are coming out. One wildcrafter, Jeremy's out in the bush somewhere in another area with his crazy kids. Oh no, look, we're just coming into the spot I want to go to, and it appears someone has beat us to it. Cleaned out, like this is cleaned out, for sure. Right. Sucks. And it turns out, unfortunately, this particular dude was a commercial forager versus what I teach, which is, sort of like self-reliance and taking only what you need from the forest, etc. Anyway, this guy left here with 12 bags of leeks and every single mushroom in the forest.
Now, hold on. The subject of commercial foraging is more complicated than you might think. Stay tuned. I got a lot to say about it. And don't worry, everything turned out great in the end. We ended up just going to another spot.
That's a good haul right there, bud.
Yeah.
Have a look at these mushrooms. Am I right? We're talking about fiddleheads. Beautiful. Look at that. Talking about venison steaks, sirloin. We got venison liver. We got a giant freaking lake trout. It's dinner time.
Guys, I'm out for my first morel hunt of the season. I got some friends from overseas who are coming out. One wildcrafter, Jeremy's out in the bush somewhere in another area with his crazy kids. We'll probably hook up with them at some point, but I haven't been out at all. I don't know if morels are up. We're definitely gonna harvest some leeks, and it should be a pretty fun time. And here's a really good clue that you're in the right area. If you see soils that will support Dicentra canadensis, the Dutchman's breeches, you're probably in a pretty good area for both ramps and probably even morels. Look at all these beautiful trilliums up already. I can see more Dicentra in flower, beautiful. We got trout lilies, and it's very, very windy. Oh no, look, we're just coming into the spot I want to go to, and it appears someone has beat us to it. Those are all pretty much Verpa bohemica, which is an early, not a true morel species, but a very good eating mushroom. And somebody has cleaned out the area already. Oh no.
Yeah, trouble in paradise, bud. Uh-oh.
Well, that sucks. This is the spot I wanted to take these folks to because they've never actually been morel hunting before. We usually have really good luck here. Someone beat us to it. I'm gonna go to some other spots, I think. Maybe get deeper in the bush. I don't know. That sucks, man.
Yep, it sure does.
All right, so moving to another area, and guess who I run into in the woods? It's one wildcrafter and his crazy children. So how long have we been coming here?
Oh,
years.
2018.
Years and years. I've been coming here since long before then.
For the first time in all these years, we have a competitor. I just found 2 giant baskets this big, full of Verpas, huge bags of ramps. Oh, cleaned out. Like this is cleaned out, for sure. So we're gonna move to a different area.
Oh, okay.
Sucks.
Oh.
So why I don't want her going there is because there's a dude over there.
Oh,
and we're gonna sneak back this way to not lead him to where we're going, guy. So we are curious to who's foraging in here because I've never seen another human being. We're gonna go over, we may have spotted this fellow. We're gonna go and have a chat, just say hi, all super friendly and everything, like no biggie. This is public land. Everybody has a right to it, but it's just weird that we've never seen another person. Be interesting to see who it is. All right, well, it's the next day in a totally different spot. Long story short is one wildcrafter and I went over and talked to this gentleman that we saw who was in the bush here in this area that we've never seen literally another human being. I didn't film any of it. And it turns out, unfortunately, this particular dude was a commercial forager and he had completely cleaned out the entire area of every last morel that was here. False morel, if you will. The Verpa bohemica, the guy literally didn't even know what species he was collecting. But I digress. That's a subject maybe for a whole different video, or maybe I'll drop in a voiceover on our different opinions on, that whole subject, because it is a big one, commercial foraging versus what I teach, which is, sort of like self-reliance and taking only what you need from the forest, etc. Anyway, this guy left here with 12 bags of leeks and every single mushroom in the forest.
Now, hold on. This is all probably a subject for a separate video, and I will do a more in-depth video on the topic of commercial foraging in the future, so stay tuned. But I thought it would be important to acknowledge that this guy was actually a pretty nice dude. I don't know him from Adam. We met for 5 minutes in the middle of the woods, but he did seem like a guy that, to the best of his ability and knowledge, was doing his best to harvest sustainably by hand, and that's huge. And I think in the moment I didn't really give him credit for that as much as I should have, and I'll tell you why. Literally the weekend before, I had been hired by the city of Magnetawan to go do a sustainable harvest of wild leeks seminar. I've been studying this subject for years and I have very strong opinions about it, and those opinions are not based on pseudoscience or what some other person told me or what some rando posted on the internet that looked interesting. My conclusions are based on the best available science we have today on the subject. And if you're interested in nerding out on the subject, that entire seminar is right here on this channel. Here's the thumbnail if you want to go dig it out of my playlist. I posted it just a few weeks ago. Go watch that video if you really want to understand how I came to my own conclusions, which me and this particular dude did not agree on. He didn't want to hear what I had to say, and that was a little bit frustrating, admittedly, but there are a lot of commercial foragers out there who are using shovels to harvest wild leeks, and that'll glom onto any little bit of clickbait they can find on the internet to justify the destructive methods they're using. And this guy wasn't like that. I think he was sincere. I think he really was trying to do this in a sustainable way to the best of his ability, and I just want to acknowledge that. Now, all of that being said, my opinion on commercial foraging is this. As soon as you introduce a profit motive into anything, the lines start getting blurred. And that's not necessarily anybody's fault. That's just the system we ended up with. It's the world we live in. People have to make a living, and I respect that. I understand it. But unfortunately, we're talking about nature here, and we're talking about forest systems that are old and delicate and can't protect themselves in the short term when there's money to be made out there and that profit motive exists, which unfortunately in commercial foraging has engendered a culture of speed and of maximization and of competition. Frankly, these guys compete with each other because the more they fill their baskets, the more money they make. That's not judgmental, I hope. I hope it doesn't come off that way, but it's just the truth of the matter of that particular little cottage industry. The more baskets these guys fill, the more giant garbage bags full of leeks they fill, the more money they make at the end of the day. It just is what it is. And if I'm being honest with myself, it's just a thing that I wish didn't exist at all. I don't like it. I've spent years of my life teaching people how to be self-reliant and how to understand the forest and how to respect it and how to love it and how to harvest responsibly and connect with nature. And somewhere deep down, it really does bother me that some fucking yuppie in an expensive restaurant in Toronto can just sit down and enjoy the seasonal delicacies of our forests without ever having stepped foot in there or having the slightest notion of what really goes into the production, the natural, beautiful cycles that have to happen out there in nature to produce these delicacies and these delicious foods just because they got a bunch of money in their pocket. It really does bother me. And like I was saying, unfortunately, this is just the world we live in. It's the system that's been built up. As long as there's a demand for a thing, there's always going to be someone that finds a way to sell it to you. And that's the crux of the issue for me with commercial foraging. I would much prefer, of course, in a perfect world that doesn't exist, that people learned about the forest and they learned to love it and they harvested responsibly and they only ever took what they personally needed or for their family and friends or whatever and left the forest largely alone. But that's not the reality of the world. And again, I don't want to be judgmental, but that particular aspect of commercial foraging does stick in my craw, and I just want to be honest about it. In my own little fantasy version of a perfect world, people would want to get out into the forest and they would want to learn more about the living world around them, and they would want to learn how to become a better steward of it, and they would want to put in the effort to do all of that and to get out into nature and enjoy it and understand it. But unfortunately, it seems to me like with a lot of things in the world today, that just isn't the case. Now, I don't want this video to be a bummer. Stay tuned because things all turn out great in the end. Just keep watching, you'll see. But I just wanted to share my thoughts, where my head was at on this particular subject. It's never come up before on the channel, and it's incidents like these that stir up those thoughts and those feelings on these subjects. And I hope you can appreciate that. But anyway, let's get back into the video. We're going to go out and actually harvest a whole bunch of morels and leeks for a delicious wild dinner with friends and finally actually accomplish the goal we set out with the day before.
So, long story short is we're coming back to close to that area, but not the same area. And we're going to start looking for morels again because it's getting really hot, like unseasonably hot in the next couple of days. And if there are mushrooms up right now, they're going to get burned off real quick. The canopy is still open. The leaves are just starting to bud out. The trees are just budding. And we want to see if we can't, get a few. Really, we were very disappointed. Our friends from Germany have never picked morels. They should have had that opportunity. They didn't get that opportunity. We didn't get to have a nice bunch of morels with our dinner last night, and we really want to make that happen. So wish us luck. We're going to go get mushrooms, hopefully, and, probably pick some leeks for dinner too, sustainably, by hand, and just what we need.
And with that, we shook off the bad vibes from the day before and headed out into the beautiful forest to look for more morel mushrooms. Hey man, you gotta get right back on the horse. There's no use crying over spilt milk, you know what I mean?
All right, not too far into the walk, and check out who we got here. There's Verpa bohemica, and I love this mushroom. I think I showed some of this particular species on the video I did last year. Called Nerd Level Morel Hunting Strategies, but this is a habit they have of morphing together. Look at how cool that is. That was 2 mushrooms at one point. That's just a leaf, but look, there's double cap on it. You can see here the line where they kind of fused together as they were maturing. Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever seen? Like, come on, that's cool, dude.
If you're new here, you might not yet know that wild mushrooms are the craziest, weirdest little dudes in nature. I love them so much. Like, look at this, come on.
And as you know, if you watched that other video about morel hunting, and this applies to, the false morels as well. Have a look when you find one. Look, whole bunch more. There's one hiding under that Dutchman's breeches. Here's a couple more right here. Am I right, buddy? I saw a couple more. Let me just have a quick look, but I saw at least 4 or 5 right here. So that's pretty cool. Let's grab some of those little bad boys. Beautiful. Hey, little buddy. And right beside those guys, there's a little sneaky one. I thought I saw another one right here. So tiny. Look at him. He's like an inch tall. My little buddy. Hey, dude. Oh, another morpher. Another double. Oh, yeah. That's fun. Hey, dudes. You crazy guy. And where's that little dude? Right there. Oh, and there's one behind the basket, too. Anyway, you get the point. We're into them. And look who we got here. Our old friend Sarcocypha. Harbinger of spring. Probably the first mushroom you're gonna see in the woods in Eastern North America. This guy, not a strong flavored mushroom. It's actually a very delicately flavored mushroom. Really tasty. I discussed this one too, I think, in the morel hunting video I did last year. So go watch that one for more information, but I'm gonna grab some of these, maybe make a little consomme or something. We'll see. Look who's hiding under here. Oh, that came out easy. And there was another one right here. Where did I see that guy? He's over here. Right beside. Oh, and he's already falling down. There he is. Hey, buddy. Hey, little guy. There's a big beauty conger there. Hey, bud. Come to Papa. Dinner time. All right. Here's a bunch of Verpas right here. There's 1, 2, 3 at least that I can see. That's awesome. Hey boys, let's rock and roll. There's a bunch of beauties hiding in these ramps. Have a look. All kinds, buddy. All kinds. Oh, there he is. You can just see him in the middle there.
Oh, have a look. That dinner is getting closer and closer. Our friends from overseas and this whole crew are gonna feast tonight.
And here's another good mushroom hunting reminder. I just came from the other way. This guy was completely hidden underneath these ramps here, and there's another one beside him. I never would have seen that guy from the other side. And look, Steven goes for this sneaky little fellow. Hey, buddy. And, oh, he's got a buddy right here with a huge cap. Look at this one. I think it's off camera for you guys, but look at that cap on that bro, chacho. Nice. Oh, what a weird snipe. Look at that weird little skinny, funny guy. All right, that's awesome. I'm gonna leave this little spot. There's a few more mushrooms popping up here and there, but I always try to encourage people, as I do myself, to leave some behind for nature. Mushrooms really don't require that fruiting body to exist much more than a few hours to spore out and perform their biological function, and they reproduce very differently than plants. If you're new here, you might not know that stuff. But they are a critically important food source for wildlife, so even though they don't really need them to reproduce, I really always try to leave some behind, and that's what I've done there. There's a few for the bush, for the slugs, for the little micro and macro life of the forest, and onwards. One of the number one rules in foraging, mushroom hunting, whatever, is move a lot. Don't keep hitting the same spot over and over. Move around and spread out your harvest, and nature can absorb it a lot better. And you see what I'm saying? You leave some for nature, she'll pay back. Not 15 steps. I've got more purpose. Beautiful. Look at these guys. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Perfect.
And as my basket started to fill up with mushrooms, I decided to focus on leeks for a minute. Our guests from overseas had never even tasted wild ramps before, and they were all over the place, right near the peak of their season, right when you would want to be harvesting them. So I grabbed a bunch of those too.
Might as well grab a few leeks to saute up with these bad boys tonight. I always encourage people to try and start from the middle if you can get a hand on them, and just twist. And there's some beauty big fatties in there. And in the center are usually the oldest plants, right? The way they drop their seeds and disperse is out like that. And you're doing that patch a big favor by getting in there, maybe leaving a row or two, grabbing another one, twisting them out. And there are some freaking hogs down the center, man. Beautiful. Look at that. Monsters right in the center. And hey, check this out. I got 2 species in that patch. I went over this a little bit last year. I did an ID video and a sustainable harvest of wild ramps video, or wild leeks, and roughly discussed this, but I want to just show you. There's Allium trichocum, right, with the red stem. This is the main differentiating feature. The leaves are also a little bit broader on the true Allium trichocum. And then here's his very, very close cousin, Allium trichocum variation Burdicky. And notice, not only is that stem green, right? Totally different coloration, but the leaves are a little bit thinner. And that's how you sort of identify the two or differentiate the two. And we got a little bit of variety for our supper. And right beside that one that was just harvested, a few feet away, look at this. Let's look in the center. Guess who's there? Mamacita. Big Mamacita. I like you very much, okay, my friend? Woo. And look at all those little spindly ones beside. Left all those guys alone to, you know, eventually mature and seed out, etc. But Big Mama has produced all the seeds she needs to, and we're doing that patch a big favor, thinning out that center, allowing it to creep out and colonize this area, right? That's how these plants reproduce and move through the forest system. And we're on the move, moving, grooving. That's the whole thing. Just keep moving, spread out that harvest. These are freaking monsters, dude. Look at those. Oh, buddy. Oh, look, it's one wildcrafter and his bratty kid. Oh, you guys did good, eh? Yeah. Anyway, look at those. Woo!
Where's your mushroom collection?
Oh, I've been kind of doing half-half. I haven't been going hard, but I got a few.
We were going half-half too, but I think we out-mushroomed you.
Well, you got a little ahead of me.
Look at that.
Look at this, the one wildcrafter. And this person right here.
Yeah.
Killing it, actually.
Yeah.
Doing great. Hey, that's a good haul right there, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking
Saving
good.
me. Well, you guys are too. Jones got some too down there.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, you put yours together and we got ours together. We'll see.
And we'll just see, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll just see. And I always love seeing this. This was likely a cache of a squirrel or, yeah, probably a squirrel, but it could be a turkey, so I scratched it up, but there's a whole bunch of grasses here. Actually, I don't even know what that's gonna end up being. I'm not gonna take time to figure it out and idea it, but you see that like a really super dense cluster? A lot of times that's a little squirrel who cached that, and they sprouted on him before you had a chance to come back and eat them. We're getting there, closer and closer to a full basket. Not that that's the objective, but you know, you wanna get what you can get while you're out.
We had 7 mouths to feed when we got home.
All riding back, the whole car just reeks of wild leeks. It's filling up the whole space. It smells amazing.
Have a look at these mushrooms. Am I right? Couple giant pans full of them with leeks. Talking about venison steaks, sirloin. We got venison liver. We got a giant freaking lake trout. It's dinner time.
Woo. All right, have a look at that, boys. Venison liver. We got lake trout with sage. We're getting poached with sage. We got sirloin steaks on the way. Come on now.
Liver and leeks. What? Yeah, that's what we're talking about right there, buddy. Come on, look at that crispy skin. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, my favorite. And hey, I almost forgot to show you, we're talking about fiddleheads. Beautiful, look at that.
Guys, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something new. I hope I gave you some food for thought. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Chuck a thumbs up on here if you did enjoy the video, and I'll catch you next week.